Do men and women speak the same language?
Thank you so much. Do men and women speak the same language? So this is what we are going to talk about today. Now let's start. We're going to listen to each paragraph and then we're going to have questions.
Reading. Do men and women speak the same language? The difference in the ways that men and women communicate has been the subject of countless books, magazine articles, talk show discussions, and jokes. These differences can sometimes make men and women seem mysterious to each other and can occasionally make communication difficult and confusing. People often jokingly say that men and women are from different planets or that they are different species. But just what are these communication differences and what is their cause? One basic reason men and women have such different ways of communicating is that they see the purpose of communication differently. Research shows that women use communication as a way of growing closer to people and establishing intimate relationships. Women tend to use language to share thoughts and feelings and to be supportive. Meanwhile, men tend to see the goal of communication as accomplishing a task. Men most often use language to persuade, argue, convey facts, and demonstrate knowledge.
Okay, here in the first paragraph, it was just an introduction that how always men and women they what communicate يعني يتواصلون they communicate differently. Okay, some of the people they say that women and men they are from different planets or they are different species. Okay, but what is actually or what do women see as the purpose, which means the goal of communication? Why do women speak? Hmm? What do you think? Why do women speak? They have different reasons for speaking. Men speak for a reason, for a goal, okay? And women speak for a reason. So why women speak? Mm. In the second paragraph, they see communication as a way of what? Yes,
To get
Tale.
closer to people.
Yes, to get closer to people. Very good, Hatun. So they say communication with others just as a way for what growing closer to people and what having intimate relationship. What is the meaning of intimate? Do you know the meaning of intimate relationship? You have an intimate relationship with your friend. You are very close to her, which means hmm, intimate means being close to someone, being very close to someone. Okay, so women they communicate just because they want to get closer to people. You can see that the friend that you talk to her most of the time, okay, this is a very good friend for you, and maybe she is your best friend. Okay, so this is our way to get closer to people. Now what about men? Why do they speak? Why do they communicate? What is their reason? What is their goal? hmm. The goal of communication to men is what? It's written after that, after women. Athalis. The goal of communication to men is what? Is yes, thank you, Mahabba. Thank you, Jude. Yes, thank you. The goal of communication is just for men accomplishing a task. Men most often use language to persuade, to argue, to convey facts, and demonstrate knowledge. For men, their talk or their communication, not to become closer to people and to have good relationship and to share thoughts and feelings. No, no. For men, it's different. They see it just as a task. كأنها مهمة. Okay? They use the language to persuade. Do you know the meaning of persuade someone? I'm trying to persuade you to believe that we can live in space. So I'm trying to convince you. You know the meaning of convince? Yes, Mahabba, thank you. Persuade and convince, they are the same thing. So when they try what? Men, they talk because they want to convince people, they want to persuade people, and this is for them just as a task. Okay, let's continue.
Although men do not tend to use communication to achieve closeness, they have their own way of bonding. In one study, 75% of the men surveyed said that their most meaningful experiences with friends came not through talking, but through shared activities. In a related study, researchers found that fathers tend to show affection to sons by helping them with tasks and challenges. Javier Morales' experiences certainly support this idea. Says Morales, "My dad and I are really close, but I wouldn't say we talk very much. We spend a lot of time together doing things. We spent all of last Saturday repairing my car, and this week we're going hiking together. My dad and I have a deep bond. Just because we're not talking doesn't mean we're not sharing important time together." The content of what males
Okay, so in this paragraph, it talks about actually only about men and how what they communicate. Now, how are men most likely to bond with others? Bond yani to bond with someone, to be close to them. Okay, so how men they come close to each other? Do you think that they are like us, that we talk to our friend and then we are what, close to each other? No, it's different for them. So for men, if they want to bond with someone, huh, they bond with them through what? Not through talking. Yes, Hatun?
Activities.
Yes, they bond with each other through shared activities. And there is one example here, one example of a man. He talks about his relationship with his father. He said that my dad and I, we are really close, but we don't talk very much. They spend a lot of time, they do many things, but they don't talk that much. Can you see that, Ya Thalith, on the relationship between your father and your brother? Can you see that they don't talk as much as you and your mother talk? Hmm? Can you tell that? It's the same? What do you mean, Mahabba? For me, I can tell that the father and the son, they always what? Bond together by doing stuff. Maybe they go, they fix the car with each other. Maybe they go to some places with each other, but they do stuff only with each other without talking that much. Look at you and your mother. You always talk, you always share. Okay, you always, for example, complain about stuff to your mother. But for fathers and sons, it's different. Okay, let's continue.
and females talk about tends to be different as well. Researcher Deborah Tannen has found that while feminine talk tends to focus on feelings, relationships, and people, masculine talk tends to focus on sports, the economy, and facts. Women talk to explore problems, but men do not. Instead, men talk to fix problems. This can sometimes cause problems in communication. Janet West, a freshman in college, remembers encountering this issue recently. "I told my brother Derek about a problem I was having with my studies. He immediately came up with possible solutions to the problem. Being told how to fix the problem was kind of frustrating because it wasn't what I was looking for. I asked him to stop trying to fix the problem and try talking with me about it instead. He seemed completely confused and said, 'Why bother talking about a problem unless you're trying to find a solution to it?'"
This is really interesting. I think we can relate to this. Now, here it says, how does the content, okay, of men and women's talk is different. Do you know the meaning of content? You can search, you can use your phone. What is the meaning of content?
محتوى.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much. So the content of something is the subject of something. Okay, the content of the video, the content of the essay. So how does the content of women and men is different? You can find the answer here. For us, the content of the thing that we talk about is different from the content that men talks about. What about women? They focus on what? They talk about what? Yes, Thalith. It's written. Yes. So how does the content of women and men is different? Of course, we speak about stuff that men, they don't speak about. So what do we speak about all the time? Yes, Thalith, it's on the first 3 lines. Yes, Batul, you are right. Batul is saying that this is, so you're saying it's not about men and women, it's only about personality? So it says here, yes, Thalith, since no one answers, it says here that feminine talk, do you know the meaning of the word feminine? Feminine clothes, feminine perfumes, feminine stuff. What is the meaning of feminine? Feminine and masculine, they are two words opposite to each other. Feminine is what? Something that related to what? To girls, okay, or to women. Feminine, okay. So feminine talk tend to be focused on feelings. We always talk about feelings, relationships, and to people. About people. But for masculine talk, masculine yani men talk, they focus on sport, they focus on the economy, they focus about, yes, facts. Yes, very good, Batul. Yes, Mahabba. So this is the difference about the content that men and women speak on. Now here it says that according to what solving problems, I think we can relate to this. Women and men, they solve problems differently, or they see problems differently. For us women, do we only want to fix the problem? No. What about us women? We always want just to what? To? Regarding the problems, for us women, what do we do? Yes, Mahabba, thank you. We explore problems. I think you can relate to this, Thalith. If you have a problem and you talk about it to your friends, okay, we speak about the problem, the same problem for days. For many days, we speak about the same problem every day, okay? And we're not bored. It's okay for us to speak about the same problem every day. And we just speak about it in different opinions. But is there any solution for the problem? No. We just like to talk about problems that we have. Or maybe we're going to find the solution, but later, not now. That's for us, we prefer to talk about the problems. But for men, as this woman said about her brother, for men, they just want immediately, okay, how to fix the problem. If you tell a man your problem, he will just give you what's the solution immediately, okay. For us, if someone told you their problems, you will ask how it happened, who are the people in the problem, when it happened. We always talk about this stuff before giving a solution. So which one, Thalith, you prefer? You prefer our way, or you prefer the men's way, that's just focusing on the on fixing the problem. Which one you prefer? Mahaba, you prefer both. Yes, I think that we don't have to only explore and talk about problems. We have to fix them, not wasting our time. What about the rest, Thalith? Which one you prefer? Do you prefer to talk about problems for days and then fix them? Or you prefer just to fix the problem from the beginning? Yes, Thalith. You know, the participation mark is not only for يعني Mahabba and Batul, they don't, and Hatun, they don't participate for you. They participate for themselves. They get the mark for themselves. So please. So Hatun, you prefer to fix it immediately without talking about it. For me, I think that it's better to talk about the problem. I prefer to talk about problems. Even if it's for days, I think it's easy for me to talk about them. And maybe I will come up with a solution. But I don't want to fix it immediately. Let me just talk about it and then we can fix it. This is a more nice way. It's like فضفضة يعني. Okay, Rama, you prefer to fix it. Okay, let's see.
Another way in which men and women differ is in the way they listen. Research has shown that men tend to place all of their attention on one thing at a time, but women do not. Instead, women commonly divide their attention between a number of things at once and make connections between these different things. Since this comes so easily to women, they are sometimes frustrated when men struggle to do this. For example, a common complaint among women is that when a man is watching television, he often doesn't hear a question asked by the person sitting right beside him. Sakura Kumi has witnessed this many times in her house. Sakura says, "My mother used to get so frustrated trying to get my father's attention while he was watching TV, and I did too. So she got into the habit of standing in front of the TV and saying, 'Hiroshi, I'm about to ask you a question.' It's become sort of a family joke."
Okay, here it talks about the different ability for men and women. For men, they only can focus on, what about men? They focus on what?
On
Only?
one thing.
Yes, they can focus only in one thing. If they are watching TV, then if you talk to them, maybe they won't answer you immediately. You have to get their attention. But for women, for us women, we are multitasker, which means, what is the meaning of multitasker, people? It means that multitasker. Have you ever heard of the word multitasker?
That we can do a lot of things in one time.
Yes, thank you. It means that we can do a lot of things at many times. Do you think that all women can do a lot of things at one time? Sorry. Do you think all of the women, they can do that? Yes, not all of them. I have one friend, she cannot do many things at one time. No, she has to do one thing at a time. She cannot focus. You, Batul, you cannot do many things at one time? Though it's nice, Thalith. You know? It's very nice that you can do many things at one time. It can save your time. Also, regarding listening, they say that women, they can listen to each other even if they are talking at the same time. And you can see that if you go to a place that is full of women and they are sitting together, you can see that many of them are talking, many of them are the same thing, they are talking, and also they can listen to each other and they can communicate. So this is a really nice thing. But I don't think that all women can do two things or many things at one time. Yes, there are some women, they cannot do that. They have to focus on only one thing. So it's an ability that you can do many things at one time. يعني هي في النهاية قدرات. It's not only about men and women. But mostly in women they can do many things, and mostly in men they can do only one thing. Okay. The last thing.
Research has shown that these communication differences can be partially explained by the different ways in which the male and female brains are structured and wired. For example, the left side of the brain, where logic and literal thinking are processed, tends to be stronger in men. Meanwhile, women tend to think with the right side, which is where comprehension is processed. The female brain also has more connections between the right and left sides, so their thought process is likely to be more complex. Research has also shown that the different ways that boys and girls are raised has a significant impact on how they communicate. Girls are raised to recognize and be sensitive to the feelings of others. On the other hand, boys are taught to be more direct and goal-oriented. Being raised in such different ways is bound to create two different styles of communication. While the differences in the way men and women communicate can sometimes cause confusion, these differences are also what help maintain a balance in communication. It ensures that a variety of topics and viewpoints are explored, feelings are expressed, and problems are discussed and solved. This balance is what makes communication so rich and interesting.
Okay, this is really true that the difference between women and men is what make what communication interesting. Imagine if we talk about the same thing, or if we communicate the same thing. Yani men talk about feelings and sport, we also talk about feelings and sport. This is not nice. I like that both of us we are different from each other. Now, it says here, what causes men and women to communicate differently? What is the reason, actually, the reason that women and men, they communicate differently? It's related to something when they were really young. Yes, thank you, Shahad. It says here that research has shown that these communication differences be partially explained by the different ways in which male and female communicate. But yes, as Mahabba said, they are raised differently. How they are raised? How girls are raised? How girls are raised, Thalith? Yes, it's written. From a very young age, girls are raised to what? To recognize and to be sensitive, right? And for boys, they are what? They are raised. Do you know the meaning of raised? Do you know the meaning of raised? The word raised. Yani? Huh? What is the meaning of the word raised, Thalith? It means you are raised in a good way. Your parents raised you very well. So the meaning of raised is yes, very good, Mahabba. نشأة أو تربية. Yes, Salma. Very good. So for girls, they are raised to be sensitive to feelings, but for boys, they are raised to what? To be direct and goal-oriented. Goal-oriented, yani just to focus on goals. For us, we don't focus on the goal that much as men do. So it's what? Because of how we are raised. You see? Okay, so we are done. It was a very interesting subject. Now, do you have any question?
No, teacher, thank you.
You're welcome, honey. Okay, there is one thing here, Saleh. Of course, we're not going to take the writing. This writing is only for the students who did not give me their homework. يعني التي لم تكتب writing الوحدة الأولى أو writing الوحدة الثانية وأرادت أن تكتب شيء بداله. You can write about this. In this writing, you have to think about an Arab man or woman, and also non-Arab man and women, and that maybe you know them or from TV. And think about how they communicate differently. And you're going to compare. You're going to write a comparative essay. You're just going to compare. How do they communicate according to what? To men and women, and according to their culture. If they are American, how do women in America communicate? How do men in America communicate, for example? Okay, and you compare between them and how we are communicate. How do we communicate? And you write it on essay. This is not for you, all of you, only for the students who did not give me writing unit 1 and 2. This is a chance for them to write about something else. Okay.
اللي يعني هذا يكفي إذا هذا يكفي للوحدتين الأولى والثانية.
Yes. Okay. Then we're going tomorrow, inshallah, to start with our last lesson. Okay. It maybe will take us 2 days. يعني maybe tomorrow and on Sunday also, inshallah. And then we will start to have the revision. Okay. Do you have any?
معلمة
Yes.
بالنسبة للرايتنج مع الوحدة الخامسة والسادسة والبروجكت حق الوحدة الخامسة متى كلها تريدين تسليمها؟
No. I know شهد الوقت لا يكفي وأريد أن أخفف عليكم لذلك هي لن تكون معكم. الخامسة والسادسة writings and projects they are not with you.
معلمة صوتك يقطع.
أنا أقول الآن واضح صوتي؟ واضح الآن؟
نعم.
طيب أنا أقول يا شهد إنه الرايتنج الموجودة في الوحدة الخامسة والسادسة والبروجكتس الموجودة في الوحدة الخامسة والسادسة ليست معنا. يعني أنا لا أقول لكم افعلوها، لا خلاص أنت كل شيء عندك كامل إذا لا تفعليها. لماذا؟ لأن الوقت قصير ولا يوجد يعني متعب لكم، فخلاص نلغيها. أوكي؟ واضح؟
أوكي تيتشر.
أوكي. طيب رفال are you here؟ رفال is absent. سورة؟
نعم
Who said نعم؟
موجودة.
Okay, طيب. Lean, are you here, Lean? Can you hear me ثالث now? طيب, Lean, are you here? She's absent. Rama al-Hafidi is here. Shahad al-Faisal is here. And Suzanne? Shahad Abdullah? Suzanne and Shahad Abdullah. Okay. Dima Seylan, Yara is here. Dima Seylan. Dima. Okay. Nuran, are you here? Nuran. She's absent. Shahad, sorry, not Shahad. Farah. Selma is here. Farah and Jana.
موجودة.
Okay. Jana.
موجودة.
Okay. Jana, are you here? Sadine, Mariam. Jana, Sadine, Mariam, are you here? They are absent. Rama Al-Kubi.
Yes, teacher.
Rama Al-Kubi, are you here?
Yes.
Yes, Yara. I think I said your name. I know you're here, Yara. طيب. Rama is here. Jude Isba is here. Widad and Rital, are you here?
موجودة.
Okay. And Batul is here. Mahabba is here. Anan. Hatun and Shahad, they are here. Anan, are you here? She's absent. Okay. Please, Thalith, try not to be absent, especially tomorrow and the next week. It's very important to have the revision. Yes, Rifal, I know you're here. So please don't be absent. Okay, bye bye. Have a nice day.